darlacansell real estate agent in South Louisiana with Real Broker. In the last couple of weeks, I've gotten some calls from people, one a seller, one a buyer, both who already had the deal worked out with pricing. So for one, the seller had her house for sale, had the buyer, but wasn't quite sure how to handle typing up an official, legal Louisiana contract, how to go about handling inspections and appraisals and all those things that come along with selling a home. The other phone call was from a buyer. The buyer had already found the home that he wanted. Again, didn't know how to go about typing up the contract, handling inspections, handling appraisal, handling all the disclosures, all the things. We live in a very busy life where people are sue friendly, right? I'm not sure if y'all know this or not, but I was sitting in a training a couple of weeks ago, and the attorney giving the training said Louisiana is the top state for lawsuits. People sue for anything and everything. And buying and selling a home is a legal process. One thing lots of people do not know is that as a seller, you are legally obligated to present property disclosures to the buyer for them to review before your home goes under contract. You as the seller could be sued if you sell your home and you do not disclose all of the things that could be wrong with it. And those are called Louisiana property disclosures that must be completed by the seller. As the buyer, we all live in super busy lives. We don't know a whole lot about the legalities. I sold a house myself back in 2009, long before I ever became a realtor. The buyers knew that they had the right to have it inspected. I did not know that we did not have to fix every single thing that came out on that inspection. I had no idea. If I had hired a realtor, that realtor would have told me, you are not obligated to fix anything that the inspector finds. Nothing at all. Nothing. Listen, and an inspector's job is to find things wrong with the home. So they are going to find the little bitty nitpicky things all the way to major things. As the buyer, you have the right during your due diligence and inspection period in your contract to have that home inspected by anyone you choose. It can be a licensed inspector, it can be a carpenter, it can be your uncle who just knows a whole lot of things about things that need to be fixed. It can be anybody. And you have the right to present that inspection to the seller and ask them to fix anything and everything on the report. The seller doesn't have to fix anything. They do not have to fix anything at all. Now, when you're dealing with a real estate agent, I grant you, I would say probably 95% of the time, sellers are very open to fixing things because they, for the most part, want the buyer to move into a home that they're happy with. That's what I find most of the time. But the seller is not obligated to fix anything at all. You as the buyer can present to them the inspection report and say, look, we want 5 of the items on this report fixed. And if they say no, or if they say yes to a couple of things, you as the buyer, during your due diligence and inspection period, have the right to walk away. So let's say that the inspector found some major issues with the home that you never could have fathomed were wrong with it, and you decide that you're not buying the house anymore. You absolutely have that right during your due diligence and inspection period. And that's why it's important to know that contract backwards and forwards. So the call I received in the last couple of weeks, one from the seller, one from the buyer, simply because they did not know how to type up a contract They did not know the legalities that come with the contract. Listen, not only is it important as the buyer to have access to all of the property disclosures and to be able to read those disclosures and see what the seller said is wrong with the home prior to you going under contract. Once you go under contract during your due diligence and inspection period, you as the buyer have the right to cancel that contract for any reason at all or no reason at all. You do not have to have a reason. Now, once you decide, let's just say that you have 14 days in your contract and that's your due diligence period as the buyer. You have 14 days. And let's just say that for whatever reason, on day 16, you decide to cancel the contract. The seller can then sue you and force you to purchase the home or force you to pay for a percentage of the price of the home, right? So if you are a buyer or a seller and for whatever reason you already have your house under contract, but you have no idea what your next steps are, I would say have a good conversation with the real estate agent. And listen, legally we can't work for free, so of course there will be a fee. You as the buyer or the seller and the real estate agent will then decide what fee are you willing to pay for your services, and that real estate agent will then take it on and make sure that you are doing every single thing legally right and that you are taken care of. One of the people that I'm dealing with right now, the seller has her house under contract with the buyer. I am representing the seller only. So I am guiding the seller all along the way to make sure that she doesn't get sued, but I am not representing the buyer in any way, shape, or form at all. So the seller's represented, the buyer is not. In this next deal that just closed a couple of days ago, I was representing the buyer and the seller. Therefore, I made sure the entire process was legally done, that the buyer knew when his inspection period was. He knew what day he could still cancel if he decided not to buy the house. He knew what day appraisals needed to be ordered. He knew when the appraisal came back all good. He knew what day closing was. We had some title issues with the title company. It was my job to stay on the ass of the title company and make sure that they were on it, so it didn't fall apart, because it could have very easily fallen apart. It closed yesterday, thank God. And there were some loopholes to jump through, and they were very, very, very thankful that I stayed on top of it and made sure that it closed. Because listen, I close approximately 99% of deals that go under contract because we're going to get it to the closing table. So if you are a buyer or a seller and for whatever reason you already have it under contract, or you're a buyer or a seller and you don't have it under contract, make sure from both sides that you know your rights. Y'all have an amazing day. If there's anything in real estate that I can help you with, do not hesitate to ask. There are no stupid questions when it comes to real estate, because buying and selling is a hugely stressful process. But a lot of that stress can be eliminated if you hire someone who closes lots and lots and lots of transactions and knows what they're doing. Y'all have a great day. Take care.